NBA draft player comparisons for Ulrich Chomche. We're doing best case and worst case. We each have one selected. We'll come to a consensus on the end. If you have not watched our scouting report video on Chomche, highly recommend that you do. Go back and watch that, like and subscribe. He's a very raw player. We've described him as a raw lottery ticket because the physical tools and upside is there, but the production hasn't quite gotten there yet. He's the youngest player in this class. Best case as he develops, Riley, what does that best case look like?
I think you're going to clown me for this, but I got to go with my heart. Serge Ibaka, another Cameroonian, shot blocking extraordinaire, similar size, could make threes. That's the best case for York. It might be like a 5% chance that it happens, but give me Ibaka.
I think 5% is being being generous. Um, I see the vision. I went with somebody who had a little bit more of he had a long NBA career, but it was a little bit more muted. Dwayne Dedman. Similar kind of mold where he's long, athletic, can do a little bit of everything. He was in the league for a decade, number of different teams. He got traded multiple times in that stretch. Kind of goes what you're talking about with someone betting on the upside there with Dwayne Dedman. But I think that's best case scenario to me is he carves out a decade long career in the NBA. There were 2 seasons in Atlanta where Dedman averaged double figures at almost 8 rebounds per game. That was his peak there with the Hawks. I think best case scenario for me, that's much more the case for Chomche than Ibaka.
I'm not backing down.
You're not backing down. What about worst case? What about worst case? We'll figure out the best case in a little bit.
I'm gonna be so happy if we're on the same page with this. I think we might be Thon Maker.
No, because
I would have bet.
I was in on Thon Maker when he got drafted.
I think it's Thon. It's similar. I mean, he was South Sudanese, but again, he was, 7-footer, was supposed to have all this skill. At the very least, could be a big time shot blocker, and it never happened for him.
Thon Maker went the way of Perry Jones, where it just you watch them in the street and you're like, this guy can do everything.
Yeah.
And you got him on the court and he just didn't do anything. He couldn't handle the 5-on-5 physical, and the physicality just couldn't handle it. But I think he's much more skilled even than Chomche is. I went with another big man who was drafted based on all promise, and I think has played 4 games in the NBA in his career. Ike Anabagu from UCLA back in 2017. I think he was on the Lonzo Ball team.
I completely forgot about this dude.
He went in the second round. There was some talk about him going in the first because of his upside. And he did nothing.
Dude, what did he even do when he was on the Lonzo team? I remember the name, but
he didn't do much. He was one of those risers in the draft process because of the physical tools and what he could be. But he averaged 5 and 3 at UCLA as a freshman. He was a one and done who was a bench warmer at UCLA.
Kind of like that better than Thon.
I do as well. We'll do that.
Can we do Serge?
Serge Ibaka.
Let me get Serge. Let me get Serge.
I will give you Serge as the lottery ticket.
Okay, because I also think Serge and are we sure it wasn't Ike or Ike? Wasn't there an Ike somewhere on Ike Anabogu?
I think it was Ike, but it may have been Ike. But the fact that we don't know not that long after is pretty telling how his NBA career went.
But I think Serge and Ike Anabogu, it shows you just how the broad range of outcomes.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Well, it's a lottery ticket. Maybe you'll get 4 NBA games. Maybe you'll get a guy who's Ibaka won a championship in Toronto, right?
He did.
Maybe you get a champion. We'll see what happens with Chomche's career. It'll be fun to watch.
The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.